It's the Daily Doug.
All right, everybody, welcome in. I have Jordan Rudess here with us, and it is a momentous occasion. Jordan has a new album coming out today, and he has graced us with his presence. Welcome in, Jordan.
Thank you so much. So happy to be here with you.
It's wonderful to be here with you as well, and welcome back. Congrats, you are my first return interviewee on the channel.
Wow,
Yeah, you're the
amazing.
first person. I
Okay.
didn't get enough the first time, so I had to have you come
Ah,
back here. And
nice.
the main reason why I wanted to bring you on here today is because your latest album, Permission to Fly, is dropping today, September 6th, 2024, via Inside Out Music. You've got 9 tracks and a couple of bonus tracks included there, and I've looked through a lot of the information about it, and I wanted to get to the heart of the what I think is the heart of the matter here, the heart of the record first. Talk about your lyricist for this project.
Okay, let's talk about the lyricist.
Yeah,
So,
we'll
yeah,
get to
that's
the
a
music. Let's get to the words.
sure. Very important element of this album because, as you probably already noticed, as far as my rock or any of my solo albums, this has more words on it and more vocal sections than
Hmm.
ever before. I wanted to create an album with a good amount of vocals, songs, and have that be a real part of it. Because I kind of had this realization when I was sitting thinking about what I wanted to do for this album, that most of the music I listen to has vocals. That's what I like. And
Yeah.
so like I was questioning myself, like, why am I always putting out all this wild stuff that has no vocals? And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do an album that has vocals and
Hmm.
is has an element of being kind of like settled and songs, because that's what I love. So
Right.
instead of just trying to, I think what would happen is, and I'm going to get to the lyrics in a second. I
Sure.
think what would happen is that I'd have all this pent up kind of musical angst, if you will, from my normal life that I just need to get out. I need to express this. I need to play like this, and I need to do that. That sometimes when I would do or all the time when I do my solo albums, yeah, I'm definitely proud of them, but I feel like they're almost like this crazy release of sorts.
Right.
So then this time around, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make an album that maybe I would even want to sit and listen to. And kind of chill, and also go for some journeys and all the crazy stuff that
Right.
Prague brings. So as part of that, I realized that a very important element, sometimes not necessarily for me, but for a lot of people,
Yeah.
are the lyrics. Like, what is this guy talking about? What is the messaging of this album? What's he trying to say? What's the story? And, you and I are musicians, and that's our focus primarily, but
Hmm.
some people are not, and some people care more about what's being said and what the lyrics are than actually what's happening with the notes. So
Right.
in respect to all that and wanting to create an experience, I decided to enlist my daughter, Ariana,
Hmm.
um, because she is a linguist and she's, extremely creative and just capable of writing superior lyrics to anything that I would do, just because that's kind of like her thing. Language
Yeah.
is really her thing. And what's interesting, after I thought about it for a while, like Ari, she and I, since the moment of her birth, have basically, I've been teaching her Prague and like, odd meters on the way to nursery school, and like, here, try tapping this 13/8, or whistle this while you're doing 4 with your foot, and clapping in
Nursery
7. Like,
rhymes and asymmetrical meter. Thanks to
yeah,
Dad Jordan. Okay.
totally. That's like, that's how we would hang out. So it was like a no-brainer kind of when I thought about
Cool.
it. Like, I want to get some great words, and I'll have Ari do it. So she took it on. She was very brave because she knows I'm very picky.
Mm.
I'm especially picky about things like, what does the word sound like?
Okay.
In my experience as a listener, not being someone who's always analyzing the meaning or even sometimes even cares that much about what they're saying, because I'm really into the music,
Sure.
I hate getting distracted by words that don't seem to fit the musical phrase.
Makes
To
sense.
me, to me, it's all about the sound. I mean, I know some people have the approach of almost like pasting the lyrics onto a melodic phrase, and it's okay with them because they're just trying to say something. They don't really care so much how it sounds, but they'll find the right amount of syllables, and if it has a good meaning, they're okay with it. But that's not me. That's not me at all, because I don't know, I'm like super sensitive to what does that word sound like with that note at that point in time.
So y'all were collaborating along the way. I know I watched some of your YouTube videos where you were with Ariana, talking and letting her discuss what was kind of her point of view behind the lyrics. And I remember her saying something that was quite profound. She was like, I'm just responding to the way that I'm seeing what's happening in the world now, and I'm trying to get that out in my lyrics and trying to understand the sensibilities of your particular musical output. So was she creating words that you then wrote melodies to, or you were having melodies and she was writing to melodies? How did, like, what came first, the chicken or the egg, the music or the lyrics, or both?
Yeah, it can go either way. But in this case, all the melodies, my suggestions for the melodies, because that's a whole nother discussion, but my basic melodies came first, and then she took them and she wrote words. And it was really funny because as good as she is with rhythm, there was a couple of points, like in the song The Alchemist, where it's got like an extra little 16th note in there, and she was like having a little trouble feeling that one until I showed her how to feel it. And then she was like, oh, she's like, how's Joe the singer gonna get this? It's so tricky. And she's used to my stuff. I was like, you know what? Don't worry. Joe's a professional. He'll get
There you
it.
go.
And
There you
I
go.
was a little worried because I hadn't worked with Joe Payne before.
Ah.
But I sent Joe that melody and that rhythm. He was fine with it. He was awesome. He had it.
I love the from what I've heard so far. I mean, you've already released The Alchemist. I believe that was the first single, and you've also released Shadow of the Moon. And I've heard both of them. And while the Alchemist is really, kind of your classic, sophisticated, proggy sort of tune, Shadow of the Moon is a powerful ballad. And so you get these with some of your tricks in there, but you
Yeah,
get a
sure.
difference in feel. It's not something that I'm used to necessarily hearing from your Wired for Madness album, or
Hmm.
some of the stuff from Dream Theater. Are you happiest when you're working in a variety of styles and trying to meld your ideas together? Because I know you've got a wide array of influences, musical influences.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know me pretty well musically, having heard my stuff, having seen me in concert. There's
Yeah.
a lot of things that are floating around in my musical brain, and a lot of things that I really enjoy expressing that are important for me to express. And I don't mean just as a career thing, but just emotionally,
Sure.
because that's what music is for me. So, it's like this balance that I achieved on this album was something that I feel really strongly about. It really worked for me emotionally, and I think that it works as an album as well, to have things that are songs, like this kind of mix.
Yeah.
Um, and actually, just a point that you should know if you don't.
Hmm.
So the first track that was released was actually called Embers.
Oh.
So, and the reason you probably don't know about it is because we released it in a very unusual way. It was released through the Moises AI platform. So Moises is that application that most musicians at this point have some awareness of. It's a it's an app or an application that will, its primary use, at least the way it started out, was doing track separation.
I remember
It's
you telling me about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's really
separating
cool.
the tracks.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, for those who don't know about it, the brief story of it is that, and Embers is that Moises allows you to upload a stereo audio file, or even something you get off your video, like your camera roll. It goes to their server, they process it, and what comes back to you in a minute or two is like separate tracks. All of a sudden, it's like you have access of the vocal, the drums, the bass, the piano, and the guitars. They keep getting better with their AI and offering you more ability to separate different instruments. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
It's also gotten really good at telling you what chord you are precisely at the moment the chord hits and kind of laying out a grid.
That would
And
help
a
me
bunch
a
of,
lot. That would
oh my
help me
God,
a lot.
you
Yeah.
would love it. It's such an
Yeah.
awesome app. It's so educational and so great. But I've been functioning kind of as an ambassador for them. And one of the things we thought would be really cool is let's release Embers, the first track, on Moises. So you could download Moises for free and actually get access to Embers and separate the tracks.
Cool.
And then we had a competition, so players could take out the drums, they could take out the piano part, they could take out the vocals and do their own thing. So that's how, and they
Cool.
did, and it was really, really fun. So we did that, and that's how that track actually came out. And that track will actually be something that there's another video coming up probably on the day, like today at some point, let's
Cool.
say. Where we'll get to see that as well. So 3 songs have been released, and so the whole album is kind of like, you might have discovered it already, but it's kind of that mix between proggy song, and then the Jordan that maybe we know a little better, which is lots of cool, fun meters and journeys and progressions and all that kind of stuff.
Well, talking about Moises, when we talked last, you showed me some of your bells and whistles, including GeoShred, which is still, I think it's almost voodoo. It's amazing, Jordan. So did you use GeoShred at all while you made this record?
Yeah, I do. I kind of keep it on hand and do my little, anytime there's a little like slidey riff, I can kind of use that, because GeoShred to me is the coolest way to slide in between pitches and do anything that's not, so diatonically
Yeah, it's one
based.
of the new interfaces for playing an instrument. All you need is a finger and an iPad,
Yeah,
and a little
exactly.
bit of musical gumption there. So you brought in some friends for this recording. You already mentioned Joe Payne on vocals. You've got Darby Todd on drums. I know that he's played with Devin Townsend in the
Right. That's
past.
right.
Steve, I don't know, how do you
Dadain,
Dadain, okay,
yeah,
on
on
guitar, and
guitar.
also Bastian Martinez on some
Yes.
guitar. Did you have a bass player, or did you handle that? And I know that you've been
Bass
learning
players here.
guitar.
You're looking at the bass
Your
player.
left hand, Jordan's left hand plays bass.
Yes.
And I also know that you've been practicing your guitar in your immense spare time. Do you try
Yeah,
any
right.
out on the new album?
Yeah, I'm a little nutty when it comes to the time management, and I have I have been playing guitar in my spare time. Sometimes, honestly, I'll see, at home, maybe I'll get to bed sometime before midnight, hopefully, and like I'll look at the clock and I'll go, oh my God, it's been such a busy day, but I didn't play any guitar today. And it'll be like,
Yeah,
11:30, midnight. I'll go, oh, I have to play. I
you
have
got to
to
play a little bit.
practice,
Yeah,
because I'm a real believer in, you keep on knocking away at it and you can get the
yeah,
mechanical skills and everything. And if you miss a day, that's fine, but if you can spend even a little time every day at your
yeah.
instrument, especially at one of these physical instruments like
Right.
guitars, piano, violins, trumpets, and all the above, yeah, I think that that's extremely helpful. So I have been playing guitar for a few years now. I'm pretty religious about at least getting to it a little bit every day. And for this album, I wanted to record some guitar myself on it, and I did. What's funny is that I had a whole plan that I would play a bunch of guitar on it, but talking about my time schedule, I had this window of opportunity to record this album. It was right before I went into the studio with Dream Theater to work with
Right.
them. And so the time came, I went into the studio, I went, okay, let's do this. And then I went, I think I'll record some guitar. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I forgot to schedule time to actually learn how to record audio, because all I do is record MIDI. All I work with in the studio generally is MIDI.
Right.
I've got all my synthesizers. I'm moving, piano rolls and event lists, and I know I've been doing that my whole life. But recording with waveforms and I was like, oh shit, I forgot something. So I was kind of like, I didn't want to stop because I was, once you dive in, you're in. I didn't
Right.
want to stop till like all of a sudden take lessons and how to, work with audio that way. So ended up finding a few solo spots actually on the album where I could just play and not have to worry about punching in or doing anything fancy with the
That's cool.
audio. So so I did get to play some guitar on it. Next album, I'll play more. And a matter of fact, there's a little surprise that's coming up for everybody in the near future in my guitar universe that should be pretty interesting to people when they hear about what I got cooking. So we'll keep that,
I love it.
that for a minute.
You always have something fun for us coming
Nothing.
next. So
Yeah.
I would be uh, derelict in my duty if I didn't ask you a little bit about what's coming up with Dream Theater, because the tour is coming up just next month, right? So
Yeah.
it's the 40th anniversary tour for Dream Theater. You're kicking off in October with some dates in Europe, and then y'all are going to South America. So the interest in this tour looks to be quite overwhelming. How are y'all feeling about it, and has preparations begun?
Oh yeah, I was just literally in front of my keyboard and my scores, getting my fingers on the notes
Hmm.
again and the sounds, and I'm tweaking and kind of reviewing things in the past and doing everything that needs to happen. I just had a big talk with my tech today about all the
Hmm.
different instruments I'm going to use and kind of getting him in line with everything that's going on. So there's a lot of buzz and a lot of excitement in the Dream Theater world
Yeah.
about this massive tour that's coming up, and will certainly go beyond what what the public knows about at the moment. There'll
Yeah,
be
I'm
more
sure.
layers. In other words, more. Well, of course, we'll cover more ground and all the different continents that we get to.
Yeah.
So there's that, but there's also this album that we putting all the finishing touches on now, which is super exciting. And the thing that everybody knows about and fueling the buzz is the return of Mr. Portnoy.
Yeah.
So Mike Portnoy came back after 13 years for this album to open arms, big welcome back. Let's do it. Let's create the magic and get into the core spirit and, kind of revisit some of the, really awesome, interesting things that we've done in the past, some of the ways we used to work and
Yeah.
think. And so he was really great to work with again.
Wonderful.
Not only his drumming, but also his mind and all the cool stuff that he brings to anything he touches. So yeah, super excited about it. I think the Dream Theater fans, they're a tough crowd. There's always going to be somebody to say something. The power of sitting behind your desk at the internet
Hmm.
unknown gives, we have all kinds of new critics and everything.
A couple years ago, when John Petrucci came out with one of his solo albums, and I went and saw his solo tour, and he had Mike with him. And
Yeah.
I went with one of my buddies who's been a Dream Theater fan for much longer than I have, and he's like, they're gonna get back together. I know. I can feel it. And
So excited.
it was palpable, the energy,
Mhm.
because there's especially with some of those classic Dream Theater albums, there's a lot of intense emotional energy invested into those projects by the fans. And to hear, I think most people were very complimentary of Mike Mangini and all of the work that he's done with the band, but there was, especially in my community, a real excitement when it was announced that Mike Portnoy was coming back with all of you. Did you guys write as a group, all in the same room? Yeah, talk about the process of coming up with the tunes for this new album.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was well expressed. I mean, yes, the fans really, through the years got like attached to the emotional meaning of what we were generating. I
Yeah,
guess you could say like there's something palatable about, the Portnoy's drumming and, his musicality and his
yeah,
resonance within the group. And I do like to point out, because it's important. I mean, we had 13 years with Mike Mangini, who is one of the most fantastic drummers on the planet Earth,
Yeah.
and he did a great job with us. And he, you know, we made some great music, and we won a Grammy, and just had a, you know, just continued our career in style. But you know, but here we are, and you know, working with Mike Portnoy, and it's like, as I said, we're welcoming him home. You know, he started Dream Theater years ago with Petrucci and Mayang, and you know, there's something to that. You know, you
Yeah.
can't get away from it, right? And when you hear him playing, and then when you hear Mike Portnoy playing on the new album, everybody's going to go, "Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about."
Mm-hmm.
There's a vibe. There's just a vibe.
There
You know,
is.
you could have, it's really funny because, you know, you think about it in a way, like, you know, the person's just playing drums. Like, what's that gonna what's that gonna do for it? Like,
Drummer
if they're a
makes.
good drummer, they're a good drummer. If they're
Yeah.
not that good, they're not that good. But just there's a feeling. There's a real, especially because the drums, I guess, are the core rhythmic factor of the music.
Yeah.
And it all kind of starts there. So there's something that you really, really feel, and the people are gonna go, "Oh, right, I get this. You know, I miss this. This is the way maybe it's supposed to be."
Yeah.
So yeah, we were all in the studio together. We had all our instruments set up, and we were just hashing things out and throwing ideas around and throwing riffs down, and just you know, a lot of bouncing back and forth between me and John Petrucci with all the notes. And you know, Mike is right in there with everything and all his ideas and conceptual things and opinions. And you know, it was a very intense group effort
I'm
to
sure.
write this album.
I'm
Yeah.
sure. Well, I looked on the Dream Theater website, and one of the things that I did not see was a release date and a name for the album. Would you care to make any news today?
If I made news today, I would be killed. If I told you those things, I would get a phone call so fast. Yeah, it's unfortunately, it's not. Yeah, it's not my job to go spilling
Sure.
those beans.
So, I'm
So,
guessing the album then won't be out before you guys go on tour.
well, I'll have to keep everybody guessing because we really, as a
Ah,
group, haven't given any information about it. So it's going to be,
okay.
let's just say it's going to be a little while, and it'll give
Okay.
people plenty of time to digest Permission to Fly while they're
Perfect.
waiting for the next offering from my musical land.
Well, let's circle back as we conclude here with Permission to Fly. It's now available, and I want to listen to some of this with the people that watch me here. So as I conclude the interview here, I'm going to segue into listening to some of your sounds, and maybe. What was it? Embers would be a good one to listen to since it's one that's out and I haven't heard yet. But they're all available.
Yeah,
Which
it's
one
all
do you
very.
think would be fun for us to hear?
Well, today's the day. I think that, you know, knowing you and your musical ear and knowledge, it might be fun for you to be sharing something that's maybe one of these deeper kind of
Oh shit!
proggy tracks.
Don't test me now. I it's an ear
Oh no,
training quiz. Okay.
you've been tested. You
Okay.
passed the test. So I would like it if you shared the song "Into the Lair"
Into the
with,
Lair. I gotta write
yeah.
that down.
Yeah, I think that that would be a good one,
Into
and it's good
into the
because
Lair.
it has that balance. I think of being really proggy with a lot of cool changes. I played a little guitar solo on that
Nice.
one, and also Bastian Martinez played his solo spot later on in the song,
Wonderful.
and then we did some really cool trading. It's just got a lot of stuff going on in it, and it should be a nice meaty kind of track, and also melodic, and you know, it
Wonderful.
has that element too. So yeah, if everybody would check that out and enjoy it, that would be amazing.
I will listen to it and I'll share it and I'll see if I get it right. Into the Lair. It's on
That's
the
it.
new album, and I really do appreciate you taking some time to hang out with me today. Congratulations on the new album. I
Thanks, Jay.
enjoyed Wired for Madness, and so far what I've heard of Permission to Fly is just a cut above even. So
Oh,
congrats.
good.
It's lovely to see, you know, some lyrics here. You know, with my musical sensibility, I've always written texted music, choral music, vocal music. So
Oh,
analyzing and understanding the lyrics has always come first to me as a musician.
oh, wow. Okay.
And so whenever I analyze music that is texted, that's kind of my home base. I always seem to go back to that because I hear the sounds and I hear the melodies and the chord progressions and the motives, and then I
Yeah.
hear the language and
Yeah.
say, oh, if they're saying this, then this motive is what they're using to mean this. And so it helps me to maybe understand the point of view, even if the music came first and the lyrics came later. It's that symbiosis of how the language
Yeah. Yes.
interacts with the music, and that's really where I find the most excitement as I review these songs
That's
personally.
amazing. That's so
Yeah,
cool to hear. And that's the reason that I wanted to go with somebody who I felt could, bang these lyrics out of the park, so to
yeah,
speak, and really do something well. That would be not only just write lyrics, but be sensitive to what the music is and
right.
the emotional context of the music. So, you know, the plan was for it to kind of come together like
Yeah.
that, and one feeds the other. So it's interesting that you have that approach
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah. It's
Cool to
just
know.
we all come from our own points of view and our own history, and the one thing that we have in common is the power of music to sort of suspend time and help us to reconnect to our humanity and our emotions and all of that. And I've really grooved with the sounds that you've made over the years, and I'm eager to hear all of this one. So,
Oh, that's
congrats
awesome. And that's a,
on.
and that's a whole nother topic for a completely different discussion that you
Well,
just
then we'll have to
spoke of.
schedule you to come back for a third time. And
Yeah.
I'm sure that won't be too long from now. But for now, I know you're a busy guy, so I'll let you
Yeah.
get rolling here.
And one of these, finally, I want to say that one of these days we're
Sure.
going to have to talk about my work in the AI music world, because that's a very heated discussion with a lot of opinions and a lot of you know people that
Hmm.
don't really understand it saying a lot of things, and
I haven't
yeah,
said much about it because I know just enough to be dangerous about that. So I would love to
yeah,
chat with
yeah.
you about AI, what you think is the future of how AI connects with the creation of music and all of that. It's a
Yeah.
whole new world, it seems, right?
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I'm actually doing a performance at MIT at the Media Lab on September 21st, where I'm showing this AI platform that we're building together. I'll tell you about it maybe offline. It's really fascinating. And there's a lot of, there's a lot of positivity to it, a lot of cool
Wonderful.
thinking that's going on behind it.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
I'm
Thanks so
open to
much.
it. I'm open to it. New tools always give us new ways to express ourselves,
Right
So
on. Right on.
that's the way it goes.
Yes,
All right.
that's what it
Y'all
goes.
can learn more about what Jordan is up to at jordanrudess.com and at dreamtheater.net. The new album is Permission to Fly, and we now have permission. We're aloft, Jordan. So,
Go for it.
all
Yeah.
right, we're doing it. So, thank you very much for being with me today. Best of luck, and I'll see you down the line.
Thanks for having me, Doug. It's good to see you.
Good to see you. Cheers.
Okay, bye.
Bye. How fun. What a fun conversation. Thank you, Jordan, for hanging out with me and chatting for a while about your new album. So, friends, Jordan has suggested that we listen to his new song, Into the Lair, and it is the second song on the album, and it's about 9.5 minutes. And I'm, when Jordan says, you got to listen to this, I'm sure that it has some great musical elements in there for us to hear. It's got some lyrics here, which I have pulled up, and I'm excited to hear this, y'all. Brand new music on the channel for 2 days in a row. How about that? So, Joe Payne is on vocals. Darby Todd is on the drums. Steve Dadayan is on the guitar. Bastian Martinez also plays a guitar solo. And good old Jordan Rudess is on the keys and synths, and as he said, he's also playing the bass here as well. So let's get to it, y'all. Here is Into the Lair from Jordan Rudess. Off we go. Okay. a dreamy start here. Kind of expanding downward. Into the Lair, that makes sense. It's not fast. 2, 3, 4. Wow. But they've got 2 and 3 and there's the eighth notes. There's 16ths. They're doing 30-second notes through there. Suspension into a major chord and then go away from it. There's another major chord. Down to the 6. Woo. Dangerous as Mars, brilliant as a star. Little sequential pattern there. Proggy as hell, y'all. He is all over the place harmonically. 2-5-1. I think that's 2-5-1 in D. Lands on the leading tone. So much going on here, y'all. Leads me into her lair. So it's really fast notes underneath it. Major chord. Okay. It's about to get funky. Some percussion back in here. The space is amazing. And it's an asymmetrical meter of some type, but I haven't figured it out yet. Slow sevens. Down by half steps in the bass. New section. But it's doing some of the same ideas. Okay. They did that before. I still don't know what it is, but they did that before. Like a prayer, do I dare? Is this prophecy? What does she foresee? Okay. Woo! Chromatics going up. Amazing. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No. Synth, and it sounds like a guitar. Than an actual guitar. I still think they're in D. Yeah. This is from before as well. This music is coming back. Right. A couple of cadences on major chords here. I wish the vocals were a little louder in the mix. I think the vocals are even with the rest of the instruments. I think it should be up just a little bit. Do I dare share this prophecy? It's a magical decree. Fast notes.
Sets me free, bids me to spread harmony.
It's cool how the drums continued that descending scale. Similar to the beginning. So we end with the same sort of soundscape as we started. Is there any change? Has the lair been there all along? That's really low. I think it's just mainly in this ear. That very little bit at the end, I think it was like an echo of something that we had previously heard. I think. Jordan, that's an amazing piece, man. I'll have to hear it a few more times to get the feel of it. These more sophisticated proggy songs with some length to them are adventures of a listen, aren't they? They're just adventurous to go on because you never go where they're going to go next. And a lot of these proggier tunes have these very distinctive shifts where it just moves into something different. And we had definitely had this in there. I kept hearing him kind of come back to D minor. If I had to give it a key, I would give it that. But there the verses themselves, the harmonic progressions are all over the place. It's almost atonal in its usage, but it keeps coming back to some tonicizing elements. There was some 2-5-1s in there. There was some dominance, secondary dominance that resolved, that helps me to figure out where it is and where the cadences are and the foundations. The cadences, the musical cadences, are like punctuation in grammar, y'all. You end a musical phrase with a declamatory period or a question mark or an exclamation point or a comma for continuation, that sort of thing. And it mirrors rhetoric in speech and in language. And the fun thing about going on these adventures with these proggy songs is that you never know when the story, the adventure, is going to take a jump in an unexpected direction, and that definitely had some of those. Let me take a look at the lyrics here real quick, y'all. At first, I thought these lyrics were talking about a romantic rendezvous. Towards the beginning here, she leads me into her lair, following blindly, totally ensnared by her illuminating glare. You know, I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be something romantic. But as we go through the song, I hear this more as maybe a metaphorical story of rebirth. Because remember, a lair can, well, a lair most often means a hiding spot for a dangerous animal, right? They're hiding in their lair, but there's some invocation of potential danger there. It can also refer to a burial plot, right? So I'm wondering if this is talking about rebirth. Some of the later lyrics, she's weaving peace, the fire to cease, breaking down the wall like a prayer. Do I dare share this prophecy? It's her magical decree. With a wave, she sets me free, bids me to spread harmony. That's how it ends. And she is unnamed in this piece, so I'm not sure who she is, but she is at the beginning seen from afar, and she's mysterious. And after being ensnared and following her to her lair, it's magic and prophecy and hope that is discussed, not a night of debauchery. So at the end, he is set free to spread harmony, to spread peace, and I wonder what else is going to happen in there. Ari did a great job on these lyrics. I really like them, and I really liked Joe's voice. I think the entire band is really solid. Like I said towards the beginning there, they're in a relatively slow 4, but they're taking those subdivisions of that beat and going to very fast 30-second note subdivisions, and it just gives an energy to the surface motion of the piece, while the overarching tempo is relatively slow. And it's another fun musical technique to use as you write a piece. So there you go, friends. I'm really looking forward to hearing this entire album. I've already heard a few of the songs, and they're varied, y'all. And Jordan is one of the best on his instrument, and he's also, after having a chance to chat with him a few times and meet him in person a few times, just a lovely, empathetic person, and I look forward to hearing his music whenever he comes out with new sounds. And that is today, my friends. Go and get it. It's Permission to Fly, out new today. And today is September 6th. I had to look just to make sure. September 6th, 2024. It was wonderful to welcome Jordan here to talk about his new album and to listen to some of his sounds. A great way to wrap up this very fun week. I've got more stuff for y'all next week, but I believe that is all for today, my friends. Thank you for being with me, and we'll see you next time on another edition of the Daily Doug.
It's the Daily Doug. Welcome to the Daily Doug. The Daily